Aaron Shunk, the second hitter in the Harwich Mariners order, set to step in from the right side. Brad Debo now in scoring position. A base hit could give the Mariners a run. First pitch swung on, a ground ball over towards third base. Fielded by Levy, throw across the diamond is in time. So that'll do it for the bottom of the 8th inning. The Mariners get the leadoff man on base, but they're unable to come through and score a run. At the end of 8, it is an 8-5 Orleans lead. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Top half of the 9th inning from White House Field, an 8-5 lead for the Orleans Firebirds. As Phil Clark, who is the 6th hitter in the Orleans order, digs in from the left side. The Orleans Firebirds added 3 runs in the 7th, put up an additional run in the 8th, and now lead the game 8-5. They trailed 5-4 going into the 7th as the first pitch is swung on, a high fly ball into shallow left field. Eichhoff having trouble finding it in the lights, but eventually gets under it and makes the catch for the first out of the inning.
Looks like it could have been a rather difficult one. The ball is up there in the lights for a while and moved down to one knee, came down to a crouch area, and will make the catch though. So good job Eichhoff to retain the ball position in the lights.
Justin Levy, the right-handed hitter, steps in with the base paths empty and 1 out. 8-5 Orleans in the top of the 9th inning. The first pitch from Freeman, fastball swung on and a chopper over towards short, fielded by Morris. He'll throw over to first. It's in time, and there are 2 away in the 9th. And Caleb Freeman came in the bottom of the 7th, or I beg your pardon, the top of the 7th inning with 2 outs, or excuse me, 1 out, and he got back-to-back strikeouts with runners on second and third to get the Mariners out of the inning, having only allowed the 3 runs that Joe LaSorsa allowed, and the 2 runners on second and third were Joe LaSorsa's runners, so it was an outstanding performance in the top of the 7th from Caleb Freeman. He came in the 8th, and he did okay. He allowed a couple of base hits, allowed an unearned run, and has come back in the 9th inning and looked strong again, recording a couple of quick outs.
Definitely been a bounce back here in the 9th.
First pitch to Kenyon Yovan. Just misses inside on the count. 1 ball and no strikes on the power right-handed bat. He's also a two-way player. He pitches and hits. Pitched for Team USA when he left the Cape, and when he came back, he's been both a pitcher and a hitter. He homered back in the 3rd and singled in the 4th. The 1-0 pitch bounces before home plate in the count. 2 balls and no strikes. for the Harwich Mariners in the bottom of the ninth inning, it will be Lipsius, Eichhoff, and Casals. The 3, 4, and 5 hitters due up. And Jovan digs back in from the right side. The 2-0 pitch, fastball, well low and in the dirt. And the count, 3 balls and no strikes. Freeman appears to have lost some of his control in this at-bat.
I was trying to pitch to Jovan just a little more closely. He's been dangerous this whole afternoon, this evening, I should say. Don't want to give up anything here. It can be close. There's a lot of power in that bat we saw earlier.
Very hard throwing right-hander. The 3-0 pitch on the outside corner for strike one. The count, 3 balls and 1 strike. And Ricky DeVito is throwing around a baseball, or I beg your pardon, a football, out in the Harwich Mariners bullpen. So I don't foresee him coming into a game, as he's normally a starting pitcher. Hasn't gone in a few days, but still, I don't think he's going to be making an appearance. The 3-1 pitch swung on and fouled off down to the right side, out of play, and the count full at 3-2. And for the Orleans Firebirds, there's a pitcher warming up in the bullpen. That's Aaron Oceanbine. The count, 3 balls and 2 strikes on Jovan. Base paths empty and 2 outs. The 3-2. Swung on, a foul tip. Just getting a piece of that one is Jovan. And I think he may have actually shot that off of his foot as he's walking around with a little bit of a limp in his step. Count remains 3-2.
Yeah, his ankle guard came off as well in that swing.
Restrapping his ankle guard is Kenyon Jovan.
Those popular Evo Shield ones.
There are even teams named after Evo Shield as they sponsor teams in AAU. I know that Tanner Morris played for an Evo Shield team back in high school. Well, Jovan digs back in from the right side. Base paths empty, 2 outs. A 6 and 8-5 lead for the Orleans Firebirds. The 3-2 pitch. Fastball swung on and chopped foul, and the count remains 3-2. Restrapping his batting gloves is Kenyon Jovan.
You mentioned Oceanbine in the bullpen before for the Orleans Firebirds. As a guy that's seen the Mariners before, of course. Gallen had the walk-off home run off Oceanbine here.
3-2 pitch, breaking ball, just upstairs for ball 4. Looked close, but it's going to be a walk to Kenyon Jovan. I think that when it crossed home plate, it was a little bit higher than where it was caught from Brad Devo, because the breaking ball is still going to continue to sink just after it crosses home plate. And I think that's part of the reason that it's a ball on Jovan. He's going to get a walk. And stepping in now is the 9-hitter, Sal Gazzo. Again, an 8-5 lead for the Orleans Firebirds. Austin Rooney alongside Thomas and Zarella. We're glad to have you with us this evening. First pitch, misses outside for ball 1.
And now with Jovan on, even though there's 2 outs, see if the Firebirds can maybe string a couple hits together to try to add some run support.
And the 1-0 pitch is swung on, a high fly ball into left center field. Eichhoff moving over, and he makes the catch for the final out of the top of the 9th inning. Caleb Freeman has an impressive 2 2/3 innings of work, And he allows just one unearned run. At the end of 8.5, we head to the bottom of the ninth. It's a 3-run Orleans lead. Let's see if the Mariners can try to work some magic. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Welcome back in the bottom half of the ninth inning. It is an 8-5 Orleans Firebirds lead. It's a 3, 4, and 5 hitters due up for the Harwich Mariners. That's Andre Lipsius, Nate Eichhoff, and Danny Casals. Oceanbine has a 3.57 ERA. He's gone 17 2/3 innings of work this year as the first pitch is a fastball missing upstairs for ball 1. And this is where the statistics start to get interesting. 31 strikeouts in 17 2/3. Those are outstanding numbers. He's also walked 9, which shows a bit of a control problem. Ooh, the 1-0 pitch clips the outside corner. Looked low and outside to me, but Oceanbine getting the benefit of the doubt. The 1-1 pitch, a breaking ball. And that time it misses. And the count 2 balls and 1 strike.
Oceanbine has his fair number of appearances against the Mariners this season.
The 2-1 delivery, that one misses outside, and the count 3 balls and 1 strike. You know, I have to wait a second after that pitch is thrown because we get very, very late calls from the home plate umpire. The 3-1 delivery, swung on and missed. It was a pitch that was likely a little bit up and out of the zone, and Lipsius swings right through it, and the count 3 balls and 2 strikes. The 3-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Lipsius goes down, swinging for the first out in the top of the the bottom of the ninth inning. 8-5 lead for the Orleans Firebirds, and the Harwich Mariners, who are 5-0 against the Firebirds this season, are at risk of dropping their first game against the Firebirds.
Well, it's tough to beat a team 6 times in one season. It's a feat enough. They did beat them 5 times in 1 year.
First pitch, a breaking ball, misses low for ball 1 on Nate Eichhoff. The Mariners finished 4-0 against Hyannis.
I mean, 0-4 against Hyannis.
0-4 against Hyannis, I'm sorry. They were 4-0. First pitch misses up, the 1-0 pitch misses upstairs. Count 2-0 to Falmouth, I beg your pardon. 4-0 versus Falmouth, 0-4 versus Hyannis. Mariners also 4-1 versus Brewster. They have their second to last game of the season against Brewster. And the 2-0 pitch swung on, a ground ball right over towards second base, fielded by Steer. He'll toss to first. And there are 2 away in the bottom of the ninth inning.
Yeah, the Mariners have had their fair share of wins against certain teams, and then their fair share of losses against other teams.
Yeah, YD, Chatham, and Hyannis have been hard to beat for the Harwich Mariners, to say the least. They have no wins against those 3 clubs, and I believe 12 losses. So 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth, an 8-5 lead for the Orleans Firebirds. Mariners down to their final out. It is Casals, Driscoll, and Norman due up if the Mariners are able to extend this game. The first pitch to Casals misses outside, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. The 1-0 pitch, fastball on the outside corner, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Base paths empty. Bottom of the ninth, 8-5 Orleans lead. The 1-1 pitch misses outside, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike on Danny Casals. The 2-1. Fastball outside corner, count 2-2.
And the Mariners got to get some base runners on now sooner rather than later.
Well, there's no real later for the Harwich Mariners as they get one more strike here. It'll be the end of the ball game. It's a 2-2 count on Casals. The pitch, breaking ball in there for strike 3. Casals goes down looking to end tonight's ball game. The Mariners fall to the Orleans Firebirds 8-5. And that snaps the Mariners' 2-game win streak and their 5-game winning streak against the Firebirds. And the Mariners led at a couple points in tonight's ball game. They led 1-0 until the 3rd inning, and they led 5-4 after the 6th inning. But it's 3 runs in the 7th, 1 run in the 8th. And that was enough for the Orleans Firebirds to defeat the Harwich Mariners tonight by a score of 8-5. And the Mariners got some hits tonight. They had 10 hits, and certain parts of their order looked really good, especially the 1, 2, and 3 hitters in the Mariners order. The 5 and 6 guys, Casals and Driscoll, struggled all night. It was the golden sombrero for Danny Casals in 5 at-bats. It was not what he was looking for tonight. Brad Debo looked awfully good at the plate tonight. He reached 3 times, actually reached all 4 times. And Gabe Rivera did not have a great night either. The top of the order, though, 1, 2, and 3. Tanner Morris reached 3 times. Aaron Shunk reached 4 times on his 21st birthday. And Andre Lipsius also reached base 3 times tonight. But, Thomas, let's start back with the pitching for the Harwich Mariners. Will Matheson goes 5 innings of work. He allows 4 runs. And at certain times he looks good. At other times he runs into trouble.
I would say it wasn't his sharpest outing of this season. I think it was just an average maybe outing for Matheson. I think he's pitched better in certain other games, but today he had his stuff at times, and other times he didn't have his stuff. So I wouldn't say it was his best start, but I wouldn't say it wasn't his worst start either.
After Matheson left the game, it was Matt Cronin who came in, and he pitched an inning of work for the Harwich Mariners. Did not allow a run. I thought he looked pretty good out there.
Yeah, no, he's definitely he's probably one of the better guys at the bullpen this evening. LaSource and Freeman kind of got touched around a bit. Freeman not as much as LaSource. So LaSource just a lot of hard hit balls all over the field, and unfortunately for him, he struggled at he's kind of like Matheson, a guy that's really good at times, and other times just doesn't have his stuff. And Cronin was on his A game tonight, and LaSource again just didn't quite have his usual fastball curveball combo we're so accustomed to seeing, where he can strike a lot of guys out. But
yeah, it was a very rough outing tonight from Joe LaSource, so there's really no other way to put it. He allows 3 runs and leaves 2 guys on base when he exits the ball game, and he records just 1 out for the Harwich Mariners. And afterwards, you said that Freeman only looked sort of so-so tonight. I would have to differ with your claim there. He comes in the bottom of the 7th inning with runners on 2nd and 3rd with 1 out and proceeds to strike the following 2 batters out. And that kept the Mariners in the ball game because it was 7-5. If they were able to put up a couple more runs there with a simple base hit or a sac fly or one way or another, this could be a very, very different ball game at that point. It would have been 8-5 already, possibly 9-5. He gets out of it and looks great in the process. He comes in the top of the 8th, and he does run into a little bit of trouble there. It was a single off the bat of Logan Wyatt, and then an error from, or I beg your pardon, a single from J.J. Blade, and an error from Danny Casals. Casals got the ball at second base, and Blade took too long of a turn off of first base, and he was surely going to be caught in a rundown, and then Danny Casals throws the ball away. There's a base hit later in the inning, and Blade comes around to score, and it goes down as an unearned run against the pitcher Freeman, and rightfully so, because if it's a single for Vlade, he's not going to score on the following base hit. So the Harwich Mariners get a little bit unlucky in the 7th and 8th inning, allowing a bunch of runs, and then Freeman comes into the 9th and shuts the door, and he looked awfully good in the 9th as well. And now let's sort of move over to the Mariners' bats tonight, and the Mariners' bats came alive a lot of times tonight. I mentioned the 1, 2, 3 hitters in Brad Devo. What were your thoughts tonight?
Well, I just want to go back to Freeman as well. I didn't mean the numbers were fine. I was just saying I didn't look like the Caleb Freeman we're accustomed to seeing. I felt the stuff wasn't maybe as good. He was able to get to the game, his outing, but I just didn't think it was the Caleb Freeman with the fastball and curveball mix that we're used to be seeing. But heading to the bats, the 1 through 3 hitters is kind of opposite from last game. I would say that the bottom 3 guys in this lineup on Saturday did a great job, and then today it was the first 3 guys between Morris, Lipsius, and Shunk. Lipsius driving in 2 runs, Shunk driving in a run, and Morris really kind of leadoff guy, getting on base 3 out of the 5 times tonight, including 2 hits, scoring around 3 times, and that's what you want out of your leadoff guy, a guy that can reach base and able to come around to score when he needs to, and that's also credit to Nate Nykov too. Even though he didn't record a hit tonight, had 2 RBIs. Again, just putting the ball in play can be key. And he just, even though he hit a couple hard hit balls right in the infield, he was able to score a couple runs, and that's big, big for the Mariners. Able to put 2 more runs on the board in this ball game. Danny Casales had a tough night, and Logan Driscoll unfortunately couldn't record it. He had a nice 2 RBI game on Saturday, 2-hit game as well on Saturday. Just couldn't carry that over, and we saw the same from Gabe Rivera. Another tough night for him after a guy that him and Driscoll really starting to come around. And if those 2 guys can come around, this lineup can be very complete. It can be awfully tough to pitch against.
Yeah, the Harwich Mariners do have quite a nice lineup. So oftentimes at the bottom of the order, the Mariners will find production. Tonight it was Brad Debo and Ben Norman got a hit, but that was really it from the 4 through 9 guys. Eichhoff added a couple of RBIs, but ends up going 0 for 5 tonight. I didn't think he looked terrible at the plate. I thought he had some nice swings on the ball, but he's unable to get a base hit tonight. So that'll do it for tonight's game. But before we sign off tonight, we'll mention tomorrow night's game is against the Chatham Anglers, 7 p.m. on the road. We'll have to see if the Mariners can get back on the right track. The Mariners are yet to beat the Chatham Anglers, one of the final 2 games against Chatham this season. So, for my broadcasting partner, Thomas Inzarella, I'm Austin Rooney saying so long from White House Field as the Harwich Mariners fall to the Orleans Firebirds by a score of 8-5. Have a nice night, everybody.